Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London, and this morning I'm looking at a book which has come from Edward Elgar Publishing, an independent family business specialising very much in academic work and very high level commentaries in the field of law. The book I'm actually looking at is called International Handbook on Whistleblowing Research, and an actually very interesting area of law, and one which is going to be with us for a long time because it's such a controversial area. It's been edited by the following people: A.J. Brown, David Lewis, Richard Moberty and Wim Vandekerckhove. And Elizabeth and I, my wife Elizabeth and I, have discussed the book and we've given it a review. The latest multidisciplinary research on whistleblowing in one convenient volume. And the review, of course, is on the web and in the journals. Now, this is the book. I'll show it to you first of all. It's the front cover, the spine, and then there's a lot of detail on the back, including some short biographical details actually on the authors. Let me show the back of the book first of all. You do have an index, which you can see there. Then of course you have, because it's a research book and it's international in character, a very, very substantial bibliography. You can see it there. Very, very substantial indeed. It goes on for a long period of time. You can see again there, I don't know how many pages, but a lot. And then we look at the actual structure of the articles themselves, because that's what they really are. And for instance, I've got here one area, chapter 17 on criminal remedies. You can see the structure of it there. It's got a number for the chapter. There are, of course, as you can see from the previous chapter, a lot of footnotes, starting off with an introduction which is very helpful, and then the book runs through into various subheads. You can see those there. Then towards the end you have, right at the back, and this is right at the back of this particular one, notes, a conclusion, which is actually just before the conclusion there, and then what you have after that is some notes to go with the footnotes, and of course the bibliography is at the back. The front of the book is that page there, the title page. Then of course there is a list concerning contributors and a foreword. Now I can't go through all the contributors. The book is actually structured into 4 parts. So it starts off with research fundamentals, then moves into organisation, culture and responsiveness. Then it looks at research in action, and then conclusions at the back. And then you have a list of all the contributors. You can see them listed there. There are a lot of them. I'm not going to go through all of them because there are so many of them. And then you've got something that is worth reading, which is a foreword, which sets out exactly what the writers, and in fact in this case the foreword is written by someone called Terry Moorhead Dworkin in 2013, and then there are acknowledgements from the authors themselves. So that's the book itself. It's a heavy book. It's actually a hardback, and it runs to over 600 pages in total. Whistleblowing, as I've said, is an important area, a controversial area both in the United Kingdom and internationally, because the issue really is, do people owe a level of confidentiality about what they see and hear? Do they owe loyalty to their employer or to people that they are obviously linked with? Or are there occasions when, of course, whistleblowing has to come in, and of course there's a moral dimension, a jurisprudential dimension and everything else. So what the book is doing is bringing everything together in an international global community that we now have. Now what we say about the book is the following: pity the plight of the poor whistleblower. He or she who courageously reports wrongdoing in an organisation dogged by problems ranging from financial corruption to harassment to corporate manslaughter, is inevitably going to face more than a few challenges. And for a number of reasons, clearly examined and explained in this thought-provoking book from Elgar, whistleblowing as a phenomenon has in quite recent years come under serious scrutiny from a variety of academic researchers worldwide. almost 40 of them, and that's the list of the contributors which I couldn't go through. They cover a range of disciplines and they've contributed to this book, and the result is a multidisciplinary work of reference which provides a thoughtful excuse me, and comprehensive analysis of recent research in this area across many areas of study, including law, political science, social science, criminology, business and more. Who knew may still do not that whistleblowing, many do not rather, that whistleblowing has been emerging as a distinct discipline in its own right, and therefore the subject of many a research paper and learned article in primarily the social sciences and law. As I've indicated, there's a moral dimension, of course, to it. The research and comment contained in this book consequently does much to validate and lend authority to what formerly were cries in the wilderness from small groups, or sometimes lone individuals seeking justice. This book, writes Terry Moorhead Dworkin, who I mentioned to you in the who produced the foreword, says it provides the world's most comprehensive and authoritative guide to whistleblowing research to date, adding that the book, quote, is also set to become the standard reference on the subject for many years, and I'm sure that's correct. Ms. Dworkin also points out that although whistleblowing as such is as old as humanity, formal research into its characteristics, implications and consequences have emerged relatively recently, with the first international conference on the subject taking place in 2002. It's encouraging that the importance of whistleblowing in dealing with corruption is now recognised and accepted in a number of countries, and that laws have emerged designed to encourage and protect whistleblowers. Obviously, I'm sure you appreciate that the elements of corruption are very massive in a very large number of countries, so this is an ongoing problem. Whistleblowing is defined, quote, as the disclosure of wrongdoing by organisational insiders. So the act of whistleblowing is to expose dangers or injustices which actually pivot around issues of accountability and democracy itself. Predictably, of course, the topic can and does generate controversy, depending on the circumstances in each individual case, and therefore it cries out for the kind of systematic methodological analysis which this book conveniently presents in one volume. I think of special interest is the dizzyingly lengthy bibliography, which I mentioned to you. It's right at the back, but it's a huge bibliography, about 60 pages in total, of key sources of further information. And it's enough to fuel research endeavours in this relatively new field for a good long time ahead, we think. So let me conclude by saying there is little doubt that policymakers worldwide, as well as practitioners, will greet the publication of this book with enthusiasm, and the publication date is cited at 2014. Let me just remind you what it looks like again. That's the front, and then that's the back of it, with quite a lot of quotes, because a lot of people have looked at this and given it the thumbs up. Let me just go into the middle of it for you. Whistleblowers and suffering, wrongdoing characteristics. Because one of the problems, reporting paths, national cultures involved, one of the problems about this is that, and retaliation. So one of the difficulties with whistleblowing is that you can, obviously sometimes it can be a criminal offence, of course, and other times it's something that must be exposed, and the question then is, how is it going to be exposed, and should the person who is the whistleblower have anonymity, or should he be someone, or she be someone that we should know about? And so you do have quite a mixture, because some whistleblowers, of course, are looking for publicity, some are a little bit flaky, but a lot of them see something that's quite clearly wrong and have to act on it. And that's really where from the legal perspective. That's where the jurisprudential element comes in. But I think people who are interested in this from a philosophical as well as a practical area, both in civil and criminal justice, will find this book very, very helpful indeed. So thank you to all concerned, the contributors, the editors and Edward Elgar, for an excellent publication. Bye-bye.